Hello guys and welcome to my new tutorial. This time I will teach you how I paint gold. Many people ask me how I paint gold. To be honest, it's really an easy way I do it, and I guess that's good because the easier the technique, the easier it is to learn. So for showing you how I paint gold, I am taking the painting I had from the hair from the last tutorial. You remember? I will link it below if you haven't seen it yet. And yeah, I start really simple. I have like these golden details that I use in my paintings, you know them. So how I start painting gold, my gold effects, my little gold details is quite easily. I take a hard brush, it's usually a round brush, and I paint in the little details as you can see here on the demonstration painting, and I just go with the flow. I decide where do I want to have the little details, how many of them, and I go with the flow and yeah, just decide some areas could use some more, some others are too much, like going with the flow basically. And I see the direction of the painting and try to follow it often as well with some thin lines. This is really good for hair because we have a general flow in hair and it's easy to see it, I think. So on the bottom one I chosen a reddish tone, and this could be it could be reddish gold or another metal. You can use this technique for silver or anything else. It's basically the same. So what I do next is I make another layer and I clip it underneath the layer below to have a mask, and then I bring in some highlights. And this is a really simple step, but it's important to make it visible that it's gold or metal. As you can see, the shine brings in this effect of being golden or metal in general. So yeah, I see how many I want to bring in. I try out which reflections look the best and go with the flow here as well. I have another round brush, it's actually the same one than before for this step. Wow, it's really windy outside, sorry about that. Is it a storm coming? Anyway, I keep doing that for a while until the piece is having enough highlights, and afterwards I start with the blending. I bring in the first highlights. I also often paint in some darker shades. Sorry. I usually get to a warm shadows for gold. It's usually a really reddish for gold, as you can see here in an example. I also suggest you guys, if you want to get better at painting gold, is to do some studies. I'll talk about this more in the homework session afterwards. And yeah, once I have in the main shadows and highlights, I start the blending. And for that I usually use the watercolor brush here in Clip Studio, but you can also use another one if you like. So yeah, I recommend doing that for a while until everything looks smooth. Yeah, and afterwards I bring in some more details. I often skip this step because my artwork already has many details and I like to not bring in too many, but however, if your style allows it, or if you want to do something else, you can bring in more details and you can push this step, bringing in some shadows. Remind yourself where is the light coming from and where are the shadows. In this example, the light is coming from above, the right direction, and yeah, everything else follows a light shadow. And at the end, the final step is using some color dodge or other layer options and bringing in a little bit of the glow, as you can see here. Yeah, that's basically it with my technique of how I paint gold. I came up with it a year ago, and it's really useful. It goes really quickly and it's part of my art style. I would like to see your versions of this, but first of all, let's look at a little speed painting I made for you guys to show it on a painting. So I have this little clip for you guys that I made to show you as an example. how I paint gold in an illustration. As you can see, I already had the piece finished before, but yeah, the rules are simple. As I said, I start with the rough lines that are done with a hard brush. I decide where could I bring in some of the golden details, where could it look nice. Here we have an earring, for example, and we have the little fine lines showing out of the picture and coming in. And then afterwards I do the blending as always, and at the end bring in some color dodge to bring in more highlights and make everything glow and look nice. So yeah, that's basically it, and you can see how quickly it is. For this, again, I do recommend not zooming in, and bring in some particles is also nice to give it a little bit of dimension. So yeah, that's basically it for this time's tutorial. It's a rather short one because this technique is really easy and a quick one, but the easier it is to learn, right? So for the homework this time, I would like you guys to overpaint a painting of yours like I did here on the demonstration with some gold, or perhaps create a new painting with this gold technique, however you like. A little extra would be to study gold on your own, get some good references, and try to study how the light reflects on gold. And give me, if you're part of the ELF class, give me your pieces that you've done and I will review them and give you feedback as always. Same goes for the homework. If you're not part of the ELF class and you do this exercise, feel free to tag me on social media and I will check it out. I would love to see your versions of this and how you implement it into your artwork. I hope this was helpful, and thank you very much for being my patrons. Your support is very appreciated and makes it possible to me to keep creating. Thank you so much. See you next time. Goodbye.